Imagine entering an old building thinking it'll be empty and abandoned, but then you realize it's not. The place is full of dead bodies and nightmarish creature, so now you're trapped and must survive while being hunted by demonic creatures. That is the premise of Purgatory. Developed by Nama, Purgatory is an RPGmaker horror game that follows Enri, who after being tricked by one of her classmates, wakes up to find herself in a place filled with human remains. She now must survive while escaping from the butcher who constantly hunts her, all while experiencing something changing from within her. The game is divided into two parts, with a spin-off that takes place after Purgatory 2 and a third game currently in development. This video will cover both games. Initially, I only wanted to cover the first game, but it felt too short, so I decided to include the second game. The game begins with Enri falling into a pit filled with dismembered bodies. She looked around hoping to find a way back up, but has no luck. All around her, she sees nothing but dead bodies, some already decomposing, leaving nothing but bones. For some unknown reason, Enri feels the urge to pull out a bone and make it into a weapon. Perhaps it's her survival instinct kicking in, like she needs to hold something to feel safe. Moving on, using the bone she pries open a locked gate which led to a hallway with a large open door at the end. Before entering, Enri picks up a piece of paper with a secret code written on it. Remember this piece of paper as we will return to it later. Enri then enters the open hallway which led to a locked area that requires 2 green keys. After successfully finding the keys and opening the locked shutter, Enri is ready to leave, but then she hears a sound coming from the right. Curiosity got the better of her and she decides to investigate. As she gets close to the sound, she hears something sloshing, like something moving on the surface of the water. Whatever it is, it's probably— oh my god, what in the demonophobia is this creature? No, I'm getting demonophobia flash. Of course it kills her. Am I playing Demonophobia Season 2? Let's do this again. Enri hears a sound coming from the right hallway, but instead of letting curiosity win, she ignores it like a normal person and moves on. We then see a flashback of her talking to a girl named Emma. Through that interaction, we can see that Enri is reluctant to do as she was asked, but she has no choice since she's afraid of Emma. Why is she acting like this? Well, that's something we'll find out along the way. Enri continues on, solving puzzles, unlocking doors, and escaping tentacles? I swear this game feels like it was made with demonophobia in mind. Eventually, she enters a room where she hears the sound of someone chopping something. Slowly tiptoeing, she peeks around the corner to see who it is, and what she sees horrifies her. Enri saw a large man with a mask holding a butcher's knife, chopping up what was once a human being. She slowly backs away, but because fear gripped her tightly, Enri made a mistake and accidentally stepped on a broken glass. The sound echoes throughout the room, causing the butcher to stop what he's doing and slowly turn to look at Enri. He pulls down the lever, locking the gate behind her and trapping her in the room. Luckily, there's a way out, but this initiates a chase sequence, one that Enri must do her best to avoid being captured, otherwise this happens. It's not a pretty sight, but Enri managed to escape by entering a small opening that led back to the starting area. For now, she's safe. We then see another flashback, this time revealing the history of the building where Enri is trapped. It comes up in a conversation between Emma and the 2 boys, Oliver and Lucas. Lucas and Emma mention a rumor about an abandoned building called Purgatory. Oliver added that a monster wearing a mask and wielding a butcher's knife haunts that building. By now we know this isn't just a rumor, it is very real. Emma then suggests they check the place out that weekend and invites Enri to join them. The others agree, not knowing that this bitch had other plans for Enri. After the flashback, Enri continues her journey, opening locked gates and exploring the place to find a way out. Eventually, she ends up in a long hallway where piles of mangled bodies are neatly packed in a container and stacked against the wall. One of them blocks her path. As she turns around to find another way, the butcher appears and rapidly approached her. She tried to push the container away, but it's too heavy for her. As the butcher inches closer, another flashback begins, this time showing Enri and the others arriving at the abandoned building. Oliver asks what they should do next, and this bitch Emma, acting scared like some annoying popular girl in an anime, suggests they scout the place for danger. She tells Enri to do it, but Enri refuses. She is terrified of the building. However, this two-faced bitch Emma ignores Enri's desperate plea and lies to the other, saying Enri volunteered. Oliver senses something wrong with the situation and hands Enri a cleaver. Left with no choice, Enri forces herself to be brave and enter the building. Emma and the others wait outside, unaware that the butcher is lurking behind them, ready to strike. Inside the building, Enri discovers an elevator that takes her deeper underground. She wants to run back out, but fearing what Emma might do, she reluctantly continues exploring. Enri took off her clothes to avoid ruining her pretty dress, and she'll be glad she did as Oliver comes rushing in, yelling at her to hide. Confused by the sudden request, Enri doesn't know how to react, but she has no time to process it as the butcher appeared inside the building. With no other option, Oliver pushes her into the pit to save her life. Some time pass and Enri wakes up. She's surprised that the butcher didn't kill her immediately after capturing her. Is he saving her for last? Either way, she's not sticking around to find out. Luckily, the rope tying her is old and worn out. She swings with all her might and the rope eventually snaps. Making sure that the coast is clear, Enri escapes and continues her exploration. She then finds a room where she needs to input a 9-letter word to unlock the next area. How does she do that? Well, here's where things gets confusing. Luckily, we're provided with hints. Opening the readme text file in the game folder, the translator kindly offers a hint? Great, even the hints are written in code. This is a Caesar cipher, a special military technique used by Julius Caesar to ensure that any information obtained by the enemy wouldn't be easily understood. Luckily, we can translate it online. By putting the hints into a Caesar cipher decoder, we get a message telling us to turn the lever in a specific direction. After doing that, a body falls down and Enri can examine it to get the password. But we're not done yet. There's another puzzle she needs to solve. This time, it asks her to provide a 4-digit password. Now, remember that torn letter Enri found at the start of the game? Collecting all 4 pieces reveals the phrase, the nightmare slaughterer. This is where hint number 2 comes in. Putting that hint into Caesar's cipher decoder gives us an instruction to count the letter on each piece of paper. Since the torn letters are divided into either 3 or 4 words, rearranging them into the nightmare slaughterer and counting each letter gives us the number 7734. This opens a large door and Enri obtains the demonic axe. Now, after getting this weapon, Enri has a choice: leave this place or continue on. Leaving will cause the demonic axe to disappear, and this happened. Yeah, we don't want that. So instead of going to the elevator, Enri uses her demonic axe to tear open the entrance of her room blocked by a spider cocoon. As soon as she enters, a spider follows her. This might seem cute at first glance, until the spider lures Enri into a room where a flesh-like monster appears on both sides, ready to crush her. Enri looked at the floor and sees numerous buttons scattered across it. She knows exactly what she needs to do to escape. After what feels like an eternity solving the puzzle, Enri finally cracks it and escapes just in time, narrowly avoiding being crushed by the flesh monster. The spider continues following her as if nothing happened, but deep down, Enri felt betrayed. How could this spider, which she fed and treated like a pet, lead her to her death? Well, she knows exactly how to deal with it. I guess Enri was Australian all along. After a long elevator ride, Enri finally reached the top. As Enri leaves the building, she feels her head pulsating. Her blood feels like it's burning from within, and suddenly her body is covered in a strange dark red aura. Confused, she wonders what happened to her. How did she become like this? As she ponders this question, the butcher appears one last time, ready to kill her. However, Enri's movement suddenly becomes swift. She moves quickly and appeared behind the butcher. Caught off guard, he turns around and the last thing he sees is Enri rushing towards him, killing him with her demonic axe. A year had passed since the incident that tragically took the life of 2 boys. Emma, the only survivor, was left traumatized. Yet after taking a month off from school, she returned to her old ways. acting like a two-faced bitch and attracting more guys than ever. However, one guy was immune to her charm, Abel Elfie, the main character of the second Purgatory game. He had a reason for ignoring Emma. You see, he could sense someone's true self just by looking at their face. When he looked at Emma, he sensed she was a walking red flag, so he knew better than to get involved. On his way home, Abel's usual route was blocked up by a guard due to a Hellbeast sighting. This was never mentioned in the first game, but the creatures Enri encounter are known as Hellbeasts. With no other choice, Abel had to take the long way home. It was here that he spotted Emma walking off with two boys into an alleyway. At first, he wasn't going to follow her, even going so far as to say that she deserves whatever was coming to her because of who she is. But after thinking about it, Abel felt guilty and decided to follow her. What happened next changed the course of his life. The two boys cornered Emma, intending to do something terrible to her. Abel picked up a metal pipe and readied himself to save her. However, just as he was about to act, a Hellbeast appeared and killed the two boys. Abel seized this opportunity to strike the creature, but the pipe bounced off due to its hard shell. With no other choice, he grabbed Emma's hand and jumped into the pit. Luckily, they weren't badly injured. Emma only sustained a sprained ankle, nothing like a good rest couldn't fix. Abel then approached Emma, asking if she was alright. She tried to act cute, playing the gullible and frail maiden, even going so far as to trauma dump and cry like a little girl. But Abel didn't react. He stayed silent while Emma kept talking. Once she was done, Abel told her that her fake act wouldn't work on him, as he had the ability to see someone's true self by looking at their face. This surprises Emma, who immediately dropped the act and revealed her true self. Not the cutesy, frail, likable girl, but a manipulative, two-faced bitch. Abel told her that he was going to look for a way out. Since Emma couldn't move, he asked her to stay put and wait for him. Emma grunted and snapped at him, telling him to leave her alone. It took him some time as he had to navigate several floors and avoid wandering Hellbeasts, but he finally found a way out. He quickly returned to Emma, and after some quick back and forth conversation, during which Abel ignores Emma's advance once again, they made their way to the exit. But as they reached their destination, Emma broke her silence, warning Abel that she felt a dangerous presence in the air. As soon as she spoke, a giant spider-like creature dropped from the ceiling. It let out a terrifying roar, preparing to kill both of them. Abel wasted no time and told Emma to run. Running away like their life depended on it, they managed to evade the creature and safely enters the elevator. However, this wouldn't be the last time they see the creature. The game then shifts to Enri, who now lives in the slum district. A year had passed since the incident, and Enri had fully mastered her demonic form. She can freely control its power and use it whenever she wants, unlike before when she needs a certain condition to transform. After killing a Hellbeast that barged into her home, she went out to inspect the slum district as she sensed something wasn't right. During her patrol, she saved several people attacked by Hellbeasts. Enri found this strange, as the slum district was usually quiet. This is the reason why she's able to live there for a year without the guards searching for her. Something was definitely wrong, and she was determined to get to the bottom of it. As she continued, Enri met two men who saved her, mistaking her for a damsel in distress. They told her they were heading underground to find a way out and invite her to join them. Enri decided to follow them for now, as she was already planning on to go there. As they moved through the tunnel, Enri heard a sound behind her. Turning around, she saw a massive flash-like creature rapidly approaching. By this point, the two men had already abandoned her. Enri had no choice but to run as fast as she could, or the creature would devour her. She kept running until she reached the end of the tunnel. Looking around, she spotted a ladder and felt immense relief. This is her ticket out of here. But before leaving, she destroys the container full of oil, and using her demonic axe, she creates a spark to ignite it. As the creature closed in, Enri threw a gas cylinder, causing an explosion that destroys the creature once and for all. While exploring, Enri encountered a suspicious man on the brink of death. Upon seeing her, he let out a sinister laugh. It was here that she learned about the Hellbeasts. They were the product of experiments conducted by the scientists in this country. The man revealed that he was a test subject who betrayed the organization and was hunted down. He had managed to survive, but not for long. Feeling his life fading away, he left Enri a message, urging her to stop the person responsible for all of this. It wouldn't be a problem for her, he said, since she was already a demon. We'll get to that later in this video. For now, Enri makes her way to the exact spot where Abel and Emma fell a few hours earlier. The game switched back to Abel and Emma, who was still fleeing from the giant spider-like creature. They manage to reach the second floor via the elevator, but finds themselves trapped when they realize the door only opens after every button is pressed in the correct order. To make matters worse, the giant spider creature appears again. Luckily, it didn't see them, so they seized this opportunity to sneak around, pressing all the buttons in correct order and escaping unnoticed. However, the creature is clever enough to sense their presence, and it soon finds them. Abel urged Emma to leave while he distracts the creature. Emma hesitated as this reminds her of the incident a year ago. She tries to convince Abel to escape with her, but he strongly opposed that idea. Realizing nothing will persuade him, Emma runs away. Meanwhile, Abel taunts the creature into chasing him. His plan is simple: lure it away from Emma, then hide and return to her. But there's a problem. Abel hits a dead end, and with all the exits blocked, it seems this might be the end for him. Just as he was about to accept his fate, Enri appeared and attacked the creature with her demonic axe. This allows them to escape to safety. Once the coast is clear, the two relax and get to know each other. Enri is surprised that someone can understand her despite her not speaking. Abel explains that he can predict what that person might say just from their face alone, which is honestly impressive. He then asks her for a name, and Enri shyly writes it on his palm. God, she's so cute. While searching for Emma, Abel and Enri encountered Oliver. Enri learned that Oliver was alive all along, but what's even more shocking is that he was responsible for releasing the Hellbeast into the slum district. He did this for two reasons. First, to kill the traitor to his organization, the man Enri met in the tunnel, and second, for fun. He then reveals the dark history of their kingdom and his motive, which enraged Abel, who decided to knock some sense into this guy, but Oliver was 2 steps ahead. Anticipating Abel's move, he activates his trapdoor, dropping Abel into a pit filled with demonic hellbeasts. Furious at Oliver's action, Enri activates her demonic form. However, he was unfazed, even goes so far as to taunt her, claiming that she can't touch him even if she tried. He tells her that she's the perfect demon their organization created and should be proud, as she managed to knock out Experiment D033, something even they couldn't do. Enri, fed up with his word, jumped into the trapdoor to save Abel. As Enri dropped into the pit, she saw Abel surrounded by a swarm of spider hellbeasts. She immediately activated her demonic form, scaring off this creature. When Abel saw her, he wasn't surprised or scared. Instead, he was amazed, captivated by her demonic form and openly admiring it. He thanked her for saving him, and they set off to find Emma. After navigating through several tunnels and empty rooms infested with hellbeasts, they finally found Emma trapped inside a cocoon. They tore it open, and as soon as Emma saw Abel, she hugged him tightly, expressing her gratitude for his rescue. But Abel gently shook her off and explained he didn't do it alone. Someone else had helped him. When Emma turned to thank the person, she froze. Her face darkened and she began trembling. She instantly recognized Enri. As Emma stuttered, struggling to say a word, Enri slowly approached her, looking visibly pissed off. Abel noticed the tension and quickly thought of a way to defuse it. Without overthinking, he confessed his feeling to Enri. The confession worked, breaking the tension between the two women. For some reason, Emma wasn't pleased with Abel's confession, but who cares? What matters is seeing Enri smile and blush, which is more than enough. While searching for the exit, the three of them stumble across an area with several buttons scattered across the floor. Abel immediately knew what was coming next, as this setup is similar to the puzzle he'd faced before. As soon as Emma pressed one of the buttons, the exit door was shut, separating them. And as if things couldn't get any worse, an experiment known as 001 appeared and began chasing him. Abel was forced to flee from this creature while pressing the correct button to open the exit shutter. He needs to be careful though, because if he was captured, this will happen. Not a pretty sight, but miraculously, Abel survived and managed to open the exit shutter, releasing both Emma and Enri. As the monster closed in, Enri teleported in front of it and kicked it into a pool of red liquid, buying them time to catch their breath. After coming down, Abel suggests they go deeper as the elevator didn't seem to lead upward. Reluctantly, the girls agreed. It took them a while to reach to the bottom floor as they faced numerous challenges along the way, but they survived every encounter and now stood face to face with Oliver. He applauded their effort for reaching the bottom floor despite the hardship they endured. Oliver then revealed the creature behind him, Experiment D029, a massive wall of flesh he planned to use to destroy the entire kingdom once he activated Project Purgatory. He informed them that they had only 2 hours before it began, and that the only way to stop it was to use the machine behind him. While he was boasting about his grand plan, Experiment 001 reappeared. This prompted Enri to transform into her demonic form to protect Emma and Abel in case the creature attacked. But something unexpected happened. Instead of targeting them, 001 lunged at Oliver, intent on killing him. It opened its mouth ready to bite off its head, but Oliver didn't flinch. In fact, he seems disappointed by its betrayal. He transformed his arm into a high-caliber rifle and obliterated 001 effortlessly. He then fired at Abel and Emma, but Enri swiftly blocked the shot with her demonic axe. Unfortunately, this couldn't stop Oliver's attack and it destroys her right arm. Horrified, Emma panicked and runs away. Meanwhile, it took Abel a moment to process what had happened, but when it sank in, fear gripped him. He demanded to know what Oliver had done and what he truly was. Oliver revealed that he's a cyborg and the gun he used was an anti-material rifle loaded with bullets designed specifically to kill demons. He then asked Abel to choose, die at his hand or jump into the pit below to become a sacrifice for experiment D029. He gave him 10 seconds to decide. Without hesitation, Abel chose the second option and jumped. He knew it was a reckless plan, but it's better than dying at Oliver's hand. Luckily, the pit was filled with red liquid, which cushioned their landing. A humanoid monster suddenly appeared and Abel instantly recognized it as experiment D029. He offered himself to the monster in exchange for Enri's survival. D029 agreed and swallowed them both. Abel was prepared to accept his death if it meant Enri would live, but as he braced for the sound of being eaten, it never came. When he opened his eyes, he found himself inside D29's stomach. Confused, Abel wondered why he wasn't dead. The creature explained that she never intended to kill them. She swallowed them to bring them into her body, the only place where Oliver couldn't monitor them. She reassured him that she was healing Enri and she'll be good as new in a few moments. Abel asked why she was helping them and D29 replied that she was curious about Enri and her reasons for protecting humans. After a brief conversation about herself and her ability, D29 finished healing Enri and released her. As soon as Enri regained consciousness, D29 asked her why she had protected Abel. The two then conversed telepathically, which confused Abel since he couldn't hear what they were talking about. But luckily, we as the player can take a guess. Personally, I think Enri fell for Abel the moment he confessed. Just goes to show that Enri is the best girl. After this wholesome exchange, Abel and Enri introduced themselves properly and gave D29 a new name. Since she loved the Teutonic language, they chose 9, derived from her codename 029, reversed to 920. It's complex, but you have to admit it's pretty clever. With her new name, 9 decided to accompany them since she had taken a liking to Abel and Enri. Abel explained that they needed to return upstairs to confront Oliver once and for all, and 9 eagerly agreed, as she also wanted him gone. Before facing him, 9 suggests they poison the spider-like hellbeast to prevent them from spreading through the city. Both agreed to that plan. After completing the task, the two made their way to the highest floor where they came face to face with Oliver. When Oliver saw them, he wasn't surprised to see Enri regaining her arm. In fact, he knew 9 was behind it. He praised 9 for her healing ability and was impressed that she had hidden it from him for so long. He then thanked Abel, saying that without his help, 9 wouldn't have achieved her perfect form. However, this was as far as he'd allow Abel to live. Transforming his arm into an anti-material rifle, he fired at Abel. But this time, 9 shielded Abel. This surprises Oliver as his demon-killing bullets not only failed to kill 9, but it didn't even penetrate her shield. While he was confused, Enri lunged forward and severed his arm, disabling his weapon. But Oliver, being Oliver, was unfazed and detached his damaged arm, revealing that every part of his body was designed as a weapon. Losing one arm meant nothing when he still had others. He kicked Abel to the ground and began stomping him. This continued until 9 intervened, activating her parasitic power. Oliver chuckled at their effort, convinced that nothing could harm him, but in a shocking turn of events, 9 gained control of his body. It turned out that while Oliver was attacking, Abel had attached a piece of 9's body to him. Since Oliver's cyborg form lacked the sense of touch, he didn't notice it at all, making him vulnerable to being infected. At that moment, Enri, now conscious, pulled out the cleaver she had since the first Purgatory game, the very one that Oliver gave her. Without hesitation, she plunged it into his head, killing him once and for all. But the danger wasn't over. After rescuing Emma, 9 found a terminal and opened the shutter lock, leading to the exit. As she worked on it, a loud roar echoed from a distance and rapidly approaching them. 9 instantly recognized it as experiment D33. With no other choice, she prepared to abandon the terminal and team up with Enri to fight D33. but Abel had another plan. He decided to buy them time by distracting the monster. Enri offered to help, but Abel refused, insisting she protect Nine and Emma instead. This is probably the dumbest decision I've seen in this game so far. Enri is literally a demon who can fight, while Abel is just human. Why would he choose to be this? Why would he? You know what? I'll save the rant later on this video. Ignoring the others, Abel distracts the monster by running around the small area. The fight consists of 3 stages, with each stage D033 gets increasingly fast. After a while, 9 managed to open the shuttle lock and the 4 of them ran to the exit. As they reached the exit door, Enri spotted several gas canisters and had an idea. She aligned the canister, and just as experiment D33 appeared, she hurled her demonic axe at them. The impact triggered an explosion, obliterating D33 for good. The explosion caused widespread panic, prompting the guard to investigate, which led them to uncover a horrifying scene. Fortunately, 9 erased all the evidence of their involvement, ensuring the safety of the 4 of them. The game ended with Abel reflecting on how lucky they were to make it out alive, yet he felt like this is just the beginning of something huge. So this section is focused on Purgatory 2 and its ending. There's a total of 8 endings and we'll go through all of them. Keep in mind that some of this ending required you to collect the gemstone and romancing one of the characters. Starting with ending 1, this is the ending that most people will get the first time they play the game. The ending is called Preparing for War. To get this ending, you have to confess to Enri, prioritize her instead of Emma, and collect less than 10 stones. In this ending, Abel visits Enri's home to speak with her family but discovered they were nowhere to be found. 9 appeared shortly after that, where she declares her intention to wage war against the corrupt nobles of Lobelia and invite Abel and Enri to join with her. Abel was initially worried that as a human he wouldn't be able to contribute much, but decided to go along, trusting that 9 and Enri would handle the heavy lifting. He then asked if there was a way to gain the upper hand before the war began, something like brainwashing the key figure. There was a brief pause before 9 confirmed that she could do it. The scene concluded with 9 planning to open a pharmacy and gain fame and popularity until the nobles visit, making it easier for her to brainwash them. The next one is ending 2. This ending is called 9's regular restaurant ban. You can get this ending by bonding with 9 and picking up 10 stones. In this ending, Abel thought of the facility that he just escaped, wondering if he could see it again. 9 told him that it was possible and brought him and Enri there. However, upon arriving, they found the shutters locked, and 9 couldn't open them since her power was ineffective in that area. Seeing their disappointment, Enri tried to cheer them up by treating them to a meal, which 9 completely went overboard by ordering nearly everything on the menu. While 9 was busy eating, Abel asked what they should do next. It's here that 9 dropped a shocking revelation. The royal family had been murdered and replaced with meat puppet controlled by the Lobelia's corrupt noble. Abel realized that things are much more serious than he thought. He asked what they should do, but 9 told him to not worry, outlining her plan to brainwash the noble by infecting them with her cell. Abel thought it was a risky idea, but 9 reassured him that it was safe, as she had already developed an antidote for emergencies. Still unconvinced, Abel argued that her plan was oversimplified, but 9 ignored him, ordered more food, and then got them banned from the restaurant. The third ending is called The Start of a Revolution. You can get this ending by agreeing to go on a date with Emma, but asking Enri out instead. In this ending, Abel and Enri visits Emma in hospital. She thanked them for coming but expressed concern about the state of the country. Having witnessed Lobelia's corruption while trapped on the ground, Emma wanted to do something and fight the Lobelia, but she felt powerless. Abel suggested they kept a low profile until the time was right, while also proposed that Emma take control of her household to gain influence. Meanwhile, he and Enri start a pharmacy and slowly brainwash the nobles. Emma hesitated at the plan, but since she's determined to change the country, she agreed to it. They talked with her a bit longer before leaving to let her rest. Afterward, Abel took Enri out to dinner to plan their next step for the coming years. The scene ended with Abel realizing that it would be years before they could execute their plan of fighting the corrupt nobles of Lobelia. The fourth ending is called A Promise and Determination. To get this ending, you have to be nice to Emma, save her first, and choose to go on a date with her. In this ending, after realizing the corrupt nobles were behind the country's atrocities, Emma became determined to change the country. She decided to rise to power as the heiress of a prominent family, aiming to wage war against Lobelia itself. But to succeed, she needed ally. Using blackmail, she used it against Abel to get him to stay by her side until she assumed leadership of her household. Abel, a mere commoner with no choice, reluctantly agreed and began planning their next move. The scene then ended with Emma postponing her date with Abel and asking him to remain with her until she gained power. The fifth ending is called The Days We Come Back To. To get this ending, you have to keep a distance with everyone and collect less than 10 stones. In this ending, Abel excused himself from Nine and Enri, saying he had other things to do. On his way home, it began to rain. Since his school was nearby, he took shelter inside. In his classroom, he found Amelia, who had just finished reading a book. He asked if she had any spare umbrella he could borrow. Amelia searched her bag and handed her a spare. Afterwards, she accompanied Abel to the library to find a book. It then ended with Abel thinking how beautiful Amelia was, gradually falling in love with her. The sixth ending is called Are We Dating? This ending is sort of an extension for the first ending. To get this ending, do everything you did for the first ending and get all 10 gemstone. The scene plays out similar to the first ending, but after the strategic meeting in Enri's house, Abel took Enri out for dinner, insisting that it is his way of thanking her. It then ended with Abel realizing that he might have just taken Enri out on a date. The next ending is called Never Ending Malice. This is the true ending of Purgatory 2. To get this ending, you need to tell Nine that you are fond of her, collect all 10 stones, and give the ribbon to a demon called D005. Similar to the first ending, all three of them decide to visit the Purgatory facility one last time. However, when they got there, the shutters were locked. But as they were about to leave, Experiment D005 appeared, obliterating the shutters with a beam attack. The trio then made their way to the central command room where they uncovered Lobelia's secret and their obsession with creating the perfect demon. Abel also learned about Nine's past. She was once an 8-year-old human girl abducted by Lobelia and was used as a test subject to become a perfect demon. The conversation shifted to Enri's demonic power until Abel interrupted, urging Nine to focus on their original purpose. Nine began hacking the facility's computer but stopped midway, surprised to discover that the password had been changed and any attempt to bypass them will result in error. She wondered if there's a third party involved. Abel, sensing danger, suggests they stop and leave, suspecting that whoever changed the password, that person is most likely a formidable opponent capable of outsmarting even Nine's supercomputer-like brain. The scene then shifts to Amelia exiting the teacher's office at her school. She then receives a phone call which reveals her identity as a Lobelia operative and the one responsible for changing the passcode. And finally, the last ending is called Another Executive. This is the bad ending which you can get by following the same step as ending 5 but collect all the 10 stones. The scene plays out similar to ending 5 up until the scene where Abel and Amelia went inside the library. As Abel was admiring her beauty, Amelia pulled out a gun and shot him in the stomach. She then revealed that she knew about Abel's ability, so she trained herself to counter it. When Abel asked why she did it, she revealed that she is a Lobelia spy and had been trained since she was a child. She also told him that she planned on capturing Enri and Nine since Lobelia knew they were no match for both of them. After that, Amelia took in Abel and promised to be nice to him since she had taken a liking towards him. So, what exactly happened in Purgatory? Well, to understand Purgatory and the event that led up to the game, we have to go back in time. In the world of Purgatory, people are divided by status. The nobility and the commoner. They reside in a place known as the royal capital. The nobles are called highborn. If you are born as a nobility, you're set for life. Now, there's a lot of them according to the game, but as of right now, only 4 of the noble families were identified. The Lobelia, the Louvre, the Whites, and the Purple. These nobles are part of the great families. Among them, House Lobelia is considered the most powerful among the other 3 families. 6 years prior to the main game, for unknown reasons, House Lobelia wanted to take over the royal capital. But to do that, they needed more power. It's here that they got the idea to create an army of perfect demons and use it to take over the royal capital. But they needed something to cover up what they're doing, so they created the Lobelia Corporation and expand their reach worldwide. On the outside, they appeared normal, but on the inside, things are very different. Under the city, they built a lab where they conduct inhumane experiments. The goal was to create a perfect demon and use it to wreak havoc over the city, but to do that, they needed human test subject. So they start kidnapping prisoners and bringing them to the lab to be used as a test subject. This results in the creation of many imperfect demons such as S003 and many more. However, the Lobelia family knows that if they were exposed, the royal family would execute them. So before that happened, they launch a coup d'etat. Two other families join them with the exception of House Louvre, who decide to rebel against House Lobelia and fight them. But House Lobelia doesn't see this as a problem since it's practically 3 against 1, so they pretty much didn't pay attention to them and proceed with their other plan. That plan is to commit regicide on the royal family, which they succeed in doing without anyone noticing. Afterward, they replaced every royal family member with meat puppet so that they can control them whenever they wanted. Now with the royal family out of the way, they can finally continue their experiment on creating the perfect demon without fear of being exposed. But Lobelia soon discovers that creating a perfect demon is harder than it looks. You see, in order to create a perfect demon, the subject needs to kill at least 20,000 people. But even when these conditions are met, there's still a chance for the test subject to become an imperfect, grotesque monster. This is why only a few perfect demons exist, since the process is too complicated. But that changes when Enri became one by accident. Born and raised in the Louvre household, Enri is a quiet girl who rarely speaks. She also had a tendency to go along with whatever the others told her to do without ever saying no. This made her a target of bullying from Emma, who one day had a brilliant idea of exploring the Purgatory building. Her intention was to bully her by leaving her inside the building, but it quickly turned out to be a mistake because she didn't expect the Butcher, an imperfect demon who is close to becoming a demon, to appear and killed everyone, leaving Emma running away to save her life. When Enri took the demonic axe that Lobelia created as a self-defense weapon, the axe accidentally transformed her into a perfect demon after her repeated usage, an outcome that Lobelia hadn't anticipated. This prompted Lobelia to capture Enri, intending to experiment on her, but she was smart enough to hide in the slum district, a place that not even the nobles would go and check. This allowed Enri to master her demonic ability, and then a year later, she returns to the Purgatory building, intending to destroy it once and for all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am so sorry this video took me almost a month to make. Initially, I was only going to cover the first game, but after playing it, I realized it's too short. And I didn't want to put out these videos just for the sake of putting out the video. So I decided to combine both games into one video. Hopefully the next video I'm making won't take me a month to make. Before we end this video, here's my thought on the game. Purgatory 1 is an amazing game. The story managed to keep me hooked. It kept me wanting to learn more about what happened. Enri is an amazing character and I love using her. Unfortunately, the second game is not as great as the first one. Don't get me wrong, it managed to answer a few things that were left unanswered in the first game. What I don't like about it was the fact that Enri was reduced to a second main character role, and in her place is a human named Abel Elfie. I couldn't wrap my head around why the second game was focused solely on Abel. For some reason, he was the main character for the second game, a character that we never seen in the first game at all. Sure, if you play the remake, you will be introduced to Abel's younger brother, but it's still not enough to make me think Abel should be the next main character. But still, I give the game the benefit of the doubt and played it. For a while, I enjoyed it, until it got to the point where he got chased by monsters and Abel refused to accept help from Enri. This is where I thought, wait, this is dumb. Abel had no reason to reject Enri's help when he was chased by Experiment 001 or Experiment D033. It felt like the game wanted me to like Abel, but I can't. It felt stupid to run around on a boss fight when there's a perfect demon capable of fighting just standing there. Just look at Purgatory's 2 ending. Abel and the others fight off D33 one last time. Enri volunteered, but Abel stepped in and told them that he should be the one distracting it. Are you fucking serious? Sure, she can't take down D033, but if I had to pick between Enri and Abel, I would choose Enri and fight instead. Why is it trying so hard to make me like him? Why not just continue the second game with Enri as the main character and Abel as the second main character? Better yet, why didn't the second game just continue with Enri as the main character and Abel as the second main character? Anyway, let's leave it at that. We're at the end of this video. If you enjoyed the stuff I put out on this channel, don't forget to subscribe so you get to see more content like this. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and check out my previous video if you haven't yet. Oh, and become a member to support the channel and get early access and more interesting stuff from this channel. That's all. See you.